want to talk to you guys about here is just AI, and we're just going to run through just some basic stuff that relates back to therapists and coaches. And then we're going to also go through some very specific tools inside of here. So I took a class, and this is how I learned how to use this. So it was very helpful in terms of the information that I got to walk away with um, as it relates to chat. So, and I'm specifically using chat. I am using the paid version of chat. So you guys have a better understanding about how I'm working on those elements. I'm going to just give you guys a quick image here. I'm going to tell you I created this using uh, Nano Banana, which is part of Google. Uh, and I asked it to take this flow that I have and show you guys what it would look like in an image to see what we were going to be covering today. But it ran into some problems and I kept trying to fix it. And it's right here. It's got two number sixes and I tried to make it horizontal and it couldn't do it. It kept running into problems with it. So, when we look at the technology, it's getting better. It's just not perfect, right? We don't have it down to the point where it can do everything for you. I can tell you I use it as a teacher. I can tell you I can't use it on everything. So there's some things that it just doesn't, it's not really able to do and it's not able to do well. I tried, trust me. I tried to find an easier way of getting it done, but it just didn't happen. So this is kind of what it looks like. And if you guys want to, and if you guys check your, let me make sure I put it in there again. If you check your chats, you'll find a folder. This is a Google folder. So you'll find a folder and it has the documents that I'm using in today's presentation. So you'll find that information in there and and I kind of numbered them so you can see which one I'm doing first, second, third. This is not my Google, but this is my regular one. But you'll see I have agenda, I have AI privacy. So that information is available to you there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me grab this guy. So I'm going to go to document number 2. And the big thing we're thinking about here in terms of I just want to mention this at the very beginning because I think some of people are really experienced in AI. Some people are not as experienced in AI. And I wanted to talk about this from our perspective as being coaches and therapists to make sure we kind of are using this with intention. Uh, and this idea of privacy. The same thing I do when I'm working with my students. I remove all of the designating information. I remove their names from any kind of document that I'm doing work on. I just did work for a student, and it was for a client actually, that it was helping her prep for getting a new job. And so I took her resume, I took the job that she was interested in, I stripped all of her information out of the resume and I uploaded it and said, tell me how these two things compare to each other. Because she had a bunch of certifications and I didn't know how they applied to this new job and I'm not familiar with the certifications. So the computer did it. And then it wrote a resume that would be responsive to that that job responsibility. And one of the things that AI does, according to what I've heard, is that it is looking for certain key terms. So if you're pulling information from the actual job description, you might
Okay.
be able to get that to go through.
So did you redact?
I pulled all their
Just
information
pulled it
out.
off. Okay.
And then when it built the resume, it left the spot at the top where she could put her information back in, but it built a resume for her. And then I just shared all that with her. Um, I did the AI stuff for her, so she didn't have to do that. She's not a techie person, so it wouldn't have been great for her. But if you look right here, I'm telling you, take all that information out anyway. If you're going to put any of that in there, pull it all out. And it's even telling you that, and this is me having a conversation with AI to come up with this, remove anything specific and do those, generic terms like right here it says Maria is 43, lives in Aurora, works here, adult client experiencing anxiety. So nothing that's going to be specific to the client is going to show up in here. And we're just doing, it's just an extra level of protection just to make sure that, there is a setting inside of ChatGPT that we can use that's going to set it up so that we don't have as much information being pulled from our accounts. It's not supposed to be included in any of their analysis or any of that stuff, but we want to make sure that we're doing what we can to keep our clients safe. So we're going to take those extra steps to make sure that we are protecting that information. And ChatGPT doesn't have an issue with that. It doesn't care, right?
Mm.
But it's going to tell you, hey, take this stuff out. It just makes sense. So avoid using anything that's going to do that. I went to the doctor's office a month ago or so, and she has this. She tells you, I use a scribe.
This program, so I'm trying to figure it out.
So they have to worry about the HIPAA and all that kind of stuff. And so they have to let us know that they have a note
Oh,
taker.
wait, maybe it's opening.
What did you let me?
There, it's fine now. Sorry.
All right. So best uses in terms of how we do this: draft worksheets, generate role play scripts, rewrite client-facing information. I'm gonna be giving you some of that stuff. I'm gonna give you guys what are called prompts, and those prompts are gonna help you build some of these. We decided that when I say we, I mean ChatGPT and I. We decided the best way of doing these scripts is to give you guys questions at the beginning that it would ask you to answer those questions, and then it would build whatever it is you want it to build based on those answers. And then you can always add other things. So it's just a place to start as you guys are going through and building these things. It's giving you a place to begin.
I see. Mm-hmm.
So it talks about this idea of the temporary chat. I'm going to teach you guys something different today, which is going to be what's called source. It's not, I'm sorry, I call it the clone, but we're going to give you a little clone. But we're going to build some stuff inside the clone that's going to make it operate with some of your parameters and your expectations. I've done a short version that we're going to do today in class, and then there's a longer version of giving you guys where you can take it into more detail. But I wanted to at least give us a place to play today. And then again, just checking, and we can tell it how I want it to approach information that's written. As I'm doing this, I'm going to reference back to my document if I'm worried about it using my vocabulary and my terms and those things. I can tell it to do that. I've created multiple clones that are different parts of me. And you can tell it to do things like, hey, respond to me as though you're this. You're my assistant. This is your role over here. These are the parameters and these are your jobs and this is what it looks like. So there's ways that you can create this so that it acts the way you want it to act. All right, so this is just the de-identifying stuff, and I think that's pretty clear. Did you guys have any questions on the de-identification stuff just to make sure you're safe with your clients?
Okay,
Good on that? Okay.
good.
All right.
I'm gonna try to join here. See if I can get in.
Agent AI can take the redacted and fill in the gaps by finding their closely matched LinkedIn profile behind the scenes. I haven't had good luck with it, like using links and just general searching for something like that to fill in the blanks. Although I have used it quite a bit. Like I just used it yesterday and said, hey, I'm looking for public speaking opportunities. And then I just kept narrowing it. Oh, more as a security measure. No, any chance? Oh, I guess by finding closely matched. I don't know that we're there yet to pull from some other place. I could create a like a avatar for you that might be representative of that person. Is that kind of what you were looking for? Like, can it go and find that information and combine it together to figure out who it is? Is that what you're thinking?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like from a security standpoint, if it's like constantly scraping the web and someone has like a profile,
Recording
someone
in progress.
matches
I
their resume really closely, I wonder if it can refill the redactions behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, and I highly doubt that it would be going out there to search for that unless you asked it to. But I imagine it might be possible, but I don't think it does that naturally. So I think if you're removing the information, you're probably going to be pretty good. I mean, think about how many documents this thing is searching through. It's pretty amazing, but I don't think so. But I don't know that for a fact. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. All right. So that I wanted just to talk through this idea just to make sure that we're doing what we can. And now I'm going to go and we're going to play a little bit with ChatGPT. And I have the paid version, so that's what I'm focusing on. And if you guys need to, you can come down here under your name, click on settings. Right here under data controls, you can tell it to right here improve the model for everyone and remote barrier data, browser data. You can turn this one off. So remove the model for everyone. This is giving you, again, that a little extra security. It's not supposed to be using your data to be pulling the information in. So that's a good place to start, just to make sure that you have that a little bit more security on your page. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing something right here. So you guys will see that I actually have created multiple clones of myself. If you click right here where it says new project, you can name the project whatever you want to name it. So maybe you want to do one that's an assistant, maybe you want to do one for your business. Let me kind of explain what we're going to be doing on the back side so that you understand the pieces. We're going to be creating a persona, we're going to create DNAs, and we're going to create sort of guardrails around those. And we're going to be, I would do that on each of these persona, and I'll show you that I have some on some of mine. And you would create that persona, and what this does is gives you a little bit more organization in there in terms of your file folders. So if you guys want to create a project, I'm going to go ahead and open up one of mine. I'm going to go ahead and open my CAP one. And I'll show you some of my other ones because they have more stuff in them. But if you look at my CAP one down here, all of these things that are listed under here are things I've done with ChatGPT to write emails. This is me developing the course right here. I have one in all my stuff that says, please clean up this email. And I'll take an email and I'll write down all the stuff I want and then I send it in there and then it cleans it up a little bit for me and makes it a little bit more polished. I'm getting the ideas down and I let it do the harder work, which is cleaning it up and fixing the grammar. But this is just going to be helpful, again, just organization wise. And then at the top, you have a search as well. So you can always search, but it doesn't necessarily search inside that one clone. Okay, let me show you my teaching clone over here. This one's got a little bit of extra stuff associated. And we're going to go right here where it says sources. So what I've done in sources is I've added a DNA. Oh, I called it DNA, but I did it with help of ChatGPT, and we talked back and forth to say, what do I need to give you to help you operate really well? And if we look in that, you can see my public speaking DNA. I don't know yeah. It likes a different language, but this at least give you guys an idea what mine looks like. And I just answered a bunch of questions. So there's what it says. I'm talking about public speaking in general. This is one of the classes I teach, public speaking and interpersonal communication. I gave it a lot of the expectations and things I'm looking for. These divider lines are pretty common in ChatGPT. So if you want to make sure people don't know, take out randomly highlighted bold words and these divider lines because they kind of give it away. But I don't care because this is it's part of it. And then I attach these back to ChatGPT. So right here where it says add sources, this is where we're going to add any sources that we want to go along with this. If you brought writing with you, I have like a little primer on how to do your writing. If you want to add writing to it, it's suggesting that you don't have a ton of writing in there. ChatGPT suggested that you just have a little bit of information in there and use it, and then you tell it to refer back to your sources. and it will go back in here and say, oh, pay attention to that writing style in terms of how I want to put this information out. Okay. How are we doing with that? Are we good with this? Do you guys want me to go back and take any steps backwards? So far good? Okay. I'm going to go with no comment. Must be me. You're doing okay.
Sherry, can I ask a question? I was just
Absolutely.
wondering, are you going to have this out on the CAP site so
Yes.
that we can print down some of this?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and you got and let me know if you guys need me to put the I'll put it back in there one more time.
If you put it on chat, can we print it?
What I've given you is the Google Docs. So if you click on those Google Docs, it opens the documents that I'm using in here.
Okay.
So you'll have access to that. You won't have access to like this part that I'm doing right now, but you'll have the video you can watch back.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Um, so if you and so what we wanted to do and what I built for you is some information that's going to help you. So I'm going to show you what it looks like here. And this is our talking it through stuff. This is a shorter version of the longer version I've given you guys that you can do on your own at a different time. Well, what I did was I wrote these out so you guys can see what kind of questions that you can answer. And we put a couple of questions under persona, under DNA, and under playbook. So playbook is kind of the rules or structure. And then right underneath here would be any ideas that you might need to do to fill out these little fields. And then I had it create a information down here that showed what it looked like when it was filled out. So are you guys kind of good with that part so far? Does this make sense? Because I want to take you to the next document because I want you to see what it looks like when you go to fill it out. So this would be what you would actually put into the system. You would fill it out and just fill in the blanks. So this right here is just a more detailed version of this. This is what you'd actually paste in, but this is information for you so you know what to think through. So do you guys want to take a few minutes and fill that out so we can attach it and give you guys a chance to play with it a little bit? No response. So I'll go with yes. I don't know. I don't have a response. I'm like, I don't know. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to look at document 3 and document 4. So what you'll do is you'll look at document 3 and you'll get an idea what you want to do and then answer over here. So fill in the blanks over here. And we're going to turn this into a document and save it, and we're going to attach it to your source. Okay. So here's your cheat sheet, and here's what you fill in over here. Got it? So I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to go ahead and do that piece. Set my little timer here. All right. All right, guys, go ahead and take a moment. I'm going to work over on this side. And are you guys able to open those documents okay? Oh, Bridget, you'll fill it out on your side. Do you have, Bridget, are you able to open the documents on the Google sides or the Google Docs instead of doing it on the screen?
No, I cannot open it. It is, I'm just using the pen on this side. Am I on the wrong side?
Yeah, you have to fill it out on a document that we can attach. So that's what we need. So let me see if I can just copy and paste this in to the chat. If you want, you can just copy and paste it into your own document.
Okay, let me try this. I'm trying to get out of the pen. Where'd the pen go? Oh, good Lord. Let's see it. I don't want that. So let's get out of that. No, I don't want that either. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, copy and paste. Good. No, just a minute. I will get it. And come on. Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to try to get this later. I'm not having much luck.
Okay.
Let me, let's get to Harry. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's all recorded, so you'll have the information.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So it's done to you guys. So if you guys get it done pretty quickly, let me know and we'll just move on. And Jason, did you have any trouble accessing the documents?
I am pulling them up.
Okay.
So,
The one that we're on right now that you're going to need to fill out is document number 4. So
okay.
doc 4.
Yep.
And I can just leave this on my screen right now so you guys can see.
Yeah, I don't know how much filling out I will do. I am,
And
but
that's okay if you don't, because we'll still be able to get some of the information even if you don't fill that out.
yeah, I'm super curious on this. So glad I could join. Sorry to be a few minutes late.
Oh, I'm glad you came. And Dr. Bev, did you need any help with that, huh? Are you good? We'll go with it. She's good if I don't hear anything.
I have to step away. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. And Jason, if you get as much stuff as you would like to have in there, let me know.
Yeah,
You can
let
be pretty
me.
brief about the information you put on there, and you can delete it and put a more detailed one. I gave you a more detailed one that you can fill out later.
Okay.
This one's a simple one, just so that I can help you guys do something with it right now. But again, if you would like to wait, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay,
But I've
yeah, that's fine.
kind of familiar with
That part.
setting this. Yeah.
All right. So the next thing you want to kind of keep in mind is if you're looking at doing the writing samples, document 5 is giving you some information about what to do for writing samples. So again, here's just some best practices in there in terms of the information. Again, de-identifying information, locations, um, put it all in one document. And it seemed to like it better if it was in one document, because that way it's not trying to reference all of them. It's just referencing 1 or 2 documents. And you can put more than one. You can see that I have more than one source information in there.
Mm.
But you'll see it on the document when you do something, and you can tell when it's referencing it. But we want to actually tell it sometimes, hey, please look in the sources to look at this particular document. So that will lead you back and it'll say, okay, I need to look at the sources so I can get the DNA or language or whatever it is that you want it to do. So all the stuff that you put in sources, just say, please reference sources. Okay, so that's just some suggestions on how to do that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to attach these. So you'll just go right here where it says add sources. And then click on that, and then you'll add the sources here, and then it knows what it's going to refer to. So you'll see it's giving you lots of options, uploading and using a Google Drive and other options, Slack, which I've seen people use, but don't know what that is. And then just your own text input. So you could put some of that in there as well. And then you'll add that as a source. And I've used this for quite a few things. I've used it. I have a, what are they called? They're called an Instant Pot. I got an Instant Pot. And then I'm like, I don't know how to cook with this thing. I don't even know what buttons to push. I have an air fryer, and I'm like, I don't know which ones to push. So I just ask. I tell it to give me a recipe for something. And I've had some people say that their recipes did not turn out well, but my recipes have turned out well. It did a good job of telling me what cooking instructions and temperatures to put things on. So that worked out well for me, just in general. All right. Now, I'm going to give you some prompts. So if you go to document 6, what we want to do is take a few minutes, and I gave you a couple of different ones. So there's creating a client worksheet. Let me show you right here. Sorry. And I tried to create them on one page at a time. So right here it says client worksheet. The next one is between session message. The next one is role play scripts. And the last one is group session online. And they're just how to create them. What I've done is built in questions inside of it that you need to answer. And I've told it to tell me where we're supposed to start copying and pasting. So start here, attach all my sources, attach my sources as your reference. First, review the sources, extract all my persona, DNA, and playbook instructions. You'll find them here, and then take this one right here and apply it. So let's just apply one and see how it works. So I'm going to copy and paste right from there. A couple of the things that are really cool to do is to ask it, what am I missing? What did I forget? Right? What other things should I add? Approach this as though you're a marketer, and how would you respond to this based in if you're a marketer? If you're a woman over 40 who's going through life changes, that's my target market. How would you respond to this? And sometimes it will look at it and give you like data on how they would respond. Never trust everything that it says, right? But there we go. Let's see what happens when we run it. Go back into the chats. Now, it should ask me some questions. I prompted it at the very beginning to ask you some questions. And you'll see right here, it's referencing your information. So here's the DNA, and I don't have the persona or the other thing. Mine's all built into my DNA, but it's asking me to answer these 7 questions in order to build my document. So any extra rules I should follow within worksheet length, anything I must include, anything I must avoid. Worksheet top skills, boundaries, values, anxiety loop. So it's just giving some reasons why someone might want to talk to you. And why are we creating this particular worksheet? What's the pattern? What do we think we need to pay attention to? And then when you go to run this and you answer those questions, then it will create the worksheet for you. So when we're building the prompts, we want to give it some good detail in terms of what we're looking for, and that should give you some of the basics that you want to follow in there. Did you want to give one a shot, Jason?
I am no.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in to trying to wrap my mind around this whole concept and how you're using it and where it is right now. So
Is this different from how you're using it right now?
No, I mean, yeah, I've been, I haven't set something up like this before.
Okay. Yeah, that I went to a class, and the big thing that they're teaching us in the class was this idea of these clones and the
Yeah.
idea that we're kind of, they were discouraging us from using different clones, but I really am different people. So me as I'm a hypnotist. So me as a hypnotist or coach, I'm a different person than I am as a
Yeah.
teacher. And so I use this heavily. So I teach communications classes at Metro and CCD, and I use it heavily with those because it helped me create content and clean up my content to make it more consistent across the pages. But a couple things I found out from doing this kind of work is that I had to keep reminding it of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's this expectation that it's going to remember, and it doesn't.
Interesting.
So it will remember some things, and I don't know why it remembers some things and not others. So unless you stick it in as a source and reference the source, it's not necessarily going to remember your information. And it's part of that, the setup down here under your settings. You can turn it off so that it doesn't keep track of who you are and how you write and all that stuff. But in general, it's always looking at you and paying attention to your words and stuff and kind of noting that. So if you want it to be, you want to be more intentional, adding those sources are going to make it more intentional. And so I'm being clearer about what I want it to do and what I want it to know and how I want it to act. And then, so you see, I have a CAP clone. So this keeps track of my CAP information. I have a business clone. I teach for a CCD. This was my CCD and this is my Metro. And then my own personal clone. And then if you want to do something clean and you don't want it to do anything up here, I would do new chat. And another thing that I've done is when I've done something for somebody else, I'll do it up in new chat and I'll say, please forget this information and don't treat it like it's any of mine. Because you will
Hmm.
notice it will bring stuff up
Totally.
from your previous stuff. So you'll be typing it and you'll say, because especially if I'm in my clone is, I'm talking to it. It knows that. The other thing I do as a teacher, when I build something, I build it all on one page. And I say, okay, let's go through and do this and use this information. And I do it all on one page so that it knows. So if we look over here under my thing, you can rename these. So if I click on the three dots over here, I can rename any of these so that it helps me find it more easily.
Yeah.
And I use it a lot for grading. So I'll say, hey, I'm going to grade this discussion, and I'll copy and paste the instructions in for the discussion. I'll give it a picture of my rubric. I'll put it all in there. I'll just copy and paste the picture of the rubric and just stick it in there. It knows what my rubric is. It knows what the expectations are on it. And then, I'll ask it to maybe, I try just to leave it by itself and it does a good job, but it makes everything look the same.
Mhm.
So what I do is I read the discussion post. I say, hey, pay attention to these elements. And then it pays attention to those and then includes those in the comments. So then I'm speeding that up. Some things I can't use it for at all. I tried. Trust
Yeah.
me. I tried to get it to grade outlines for me because I really don't like grading outlines and I grade so many of them and it doesn't work. And I will never give up grading my speeches or any of the presentations. So I'm not that I wouldn't even look at AI for doing any of that stuff because that's mine. But discussion posts or rewriting an assignment so that it looks cleaner or more consistent, I will take a document and I'll save it out as a document and I'll say, use the formatting from this document and write this information out and in this format. And then it knows what order I want things in, what it looks like, and all of those expectations. I do that a lot. And I just attach it right here with this plus sign. I'll add that file in there and I'll say, please use this file and format it with this information. So it's not going to run on its own. I have to help it a lot in
Yeah.
terms of making sure I get the structure, the formatting, making sure the elements that I'm looking for to show up in there are going to show up. Are,
Where, what are some of the use cases? Where are you using the clones? You were starting to describe some of the different areas. Where have you found it useful and where has it been lacking?
I find it really useful in redoing emails. I'll take, so what I do when I'm done with these presentations, if you look back at the CAP website, I take the video, I post it onto YouTube. I take the text from that video, I convert it, I put it into ChatGPT. I say, please convert this into a discussion post.
Hmm.
I put the video at the top, I place the text below it, and then it's summarized it. So it's not a verbatim reenactment of whatever I put in the video. It's an overview or a summary of the information that I have there. And then um, that just has saved me like ridiculous amounts of time. So if
Yeah.
I had to do that and to go back and check the grammar on it and stuff, and Grammarly makes me have to go look at everything.
Yeah.
Like, just clean it up. And I look at it and I read everything. So when it goes to put something out, I'm constantly correcting it. Please take a look at this. No, let's redo that. Nope, that's not clear enough. And as I was writing this class and putting these forms together, there was a ton of back and forth because I looked at stuff and I'm like, I don't understand that. Let's try that again, but let's rephrase this, or let's change that, or let's redo this because it's a lot of back and forth I'm ending up doing in order to create what I want out of these documents. But it's just saving me ridiculous amounts of time.
Hmm.
So lots of like formatting the documents. Some I use it some for grading. I use it some for creating documents. I get ideas. I use it a lot for ideas.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see if I can just find this conversation I just had with it the other day. This is clone. So this is public speaking opportunities. Now it can do research for you, so it can find journal articles and it will generally give you the PDF of the journal article, by the way. So it's because I'm teaching it at the college level and I work a lot with journal articles, and all the classes and stuff I'm creating, they're research based. So I'll say, find me a journal article that has this information and it will find it for me and give me the PDF of it. And then I'm looking through the PDF and I ask it to summarize it for me. And then I'm looking through the PDF as well because I'm comparing. I don't trust it because
Yeah.
it will misinterpret stuff.
Yeah.
But you'll see the question I asked up here at the top, and I said, I'm putting it together a practical list of places. I said, looking for groups for public speaking and mindset, behavior change, healthy mindset, anything else I'm not thinking about. I do that a lot. Please give me anything I'm not thinking about. Um, and then uh, I'll ask it for that information. And then it gave me a bunch of them. And I was like, okay, this is giving me some specific ones that clearly have dates to them. So let's ask it again, but now I want you to narrow it down and I want you to make sure that any of the ones have dates that have passed or whatever. So I said, I like some of these options, but they look very specific date range. Can you remove any of them that don't apply and give me some that have dates that are still in the running? I think this approach, and I told it, so I do work called rewiring the brain. So I said anything relating to rewiring the brain, it knows what I'm talking about, would be good to include. Maybe give them 5 stars if they're the most beneficial. So I'm giving it rules, right? I'm telling it what I want it to do. And then it went back through and looked back at the data and started giving me the dates for things. And then what I would probably do the next step is say, please give me the process for filling these out. And it
Okay.
didn't tell me the dates that some of the presentations were going to be on, but it told me the submission deadlines. So I'm like, okay, I need to make that more clear, right? It's making you clean up your own communication style um, by making sure it's giving you what you want.
So you're looking at these clones, you're basically setting it up like different hats, if you will. Like I put on my teaching hat. Let me give it the background there. And now you've got your assistant
Yep.
to run through questions, to address things. So where I connected your presentation here, I come from the coaching side of it. How have you used it in the coaching sense, and do you leverage the clone there?
More so I'm a hypnotist and I'm a coach. So I just went to the
Okay.
ICF meeting last night, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, the the so any kind of worksheets that I'm creating, any kind of processes, I'm creating some of the processes that I use as a hypnotist and putting them in the coaching setting as well. So I focus on behavior modification in terms of the work that I do versus
Mm,
just being a life coach.
yeah.
I'm I'm focusing in on specific behaviors or mindsets that we need to shift or change and doing more of the work around that. So I'm converting some of my hypnosis stuff um, into coaching kind of work along with the coaching. I've used it to create forms as I'm moving through and shifting these things. Again,
Yeah.
any kind of worksheet that you might need to create, any kind of email, any kind of tracking of um, information that I might need to keep track of from week to week. Again, I'm
Yeah.
going to keep maybe details out of it, or I might give them a number for that client or something instead of giving it a person's name per se. Are you using a note taker yourself for when you're working with the clients?
I have on some and for others not. So kind of exploring that of again, how to leverage and use AI, where is it useful in the practice. And some of the coaching I've done with different platforms and things do leverage it pretty highly. Others, it's not used at all.
And one of the things we talked about was maybe including that in if you're choosing to use it, maybe
Yeah.
including that in your documentation, letting
Mm,
people know
yeah.
that you're using that, and then having that as a conversation piece and making that decision as between the two of you if you're going to choose to use that or not. I
Yeah.
think the AI companion inside of Zoom is kind of nice. It's not necessarily as detail oriented, and the big one I use a lot is called Fathom.
Okay.
And Fathom is another app that there's a paid version of it, but the free version gives me pretty much anything that I need uh, as a person. But it actually does a video of the whole thing. It does a transcript of the whole thing.
Wow.
Um, it does a summary of the whole thing. So I'd use that at the meeting that I had just before this one because I just give everybody the notes and then they have the transcript and they have the summary both, and they can look at that information and get that. But yeah, and I use again the overview information that I'm getting from here to copy and paste that into ChatGPT and having it turn it into um, a post.
Yep.
So I think the biggest thing I would say from the client point of view is um, anything that you might need to create for them that
Mm,
might be helpful for them to think through in terms
yep.
of ideas. Asking, I love the one where you ask the Chat GPT to be somebody. So I want you to think of this as though you're a client
Mm,
and tell me what is the biggest concerns or worries that you have that I might need to address. I just did a training this weekend for GLP-1s, working with clients in hypnosis that want to wean off of GLP-1s. And so what were the processes for doing that and figuring out what that looks like? And if I did it as a coach versus doing it as a hypnotist, how would that look different? And taking some of the same material and information and using uh, visualization and things like that, which is my tool, and to help support the client making changes.
cool.
I'm a little different from just doing the life coaching, which is what I was originally trained on, and I'm combining them together.
Yeah. Yeah. Tools. What
That's
tools can we
that's the
use?
thing, and it's just saving me ridiculous amounts of time. I
Yeah.
mean, I spend so much time grading, and that's just my life.
Yeah.
But if it can help me shorten up the amount of time I spend on discussion posts because they're the thing I dislike grading the most, I'm still reading them. I'm just getting a little support in terms of how to respond back
Yeah.
and that information. But
And it just, yeah, it turns for people who work for themselves, independent solopreneurs that we are. You
right.
go, now we've got an army, and I can take some of these ideas and play with it in a quick manner instead of having heavy lift and don't know if it lands.
Well, and then you think about the persona and the DNA and whatever. Let's just say that you decide to create one of these as an assistant.
Yeah.
Then you decide what that assistant's roles are, what the job is. Let me give you the other documents in here since we're kind of getting out of time here.
Yeah.
These last ones down here, right here, are um, the same thing that I gave you here, but in more detail.
Okay.
So this is and I have it in the other folder for you. Sorry,
Yeah.
going near the wrong folder, but so this is again the instructions for the kinds of things that you might want to put into those fields.
Yep.
And then this one right here is the blank fields that you can just fill in,
Okay.
create as a document and save it out, and then attach it to your source. And so that's the one with the blank fields on there.
Perfect.
Other fun things to do is, put your writing style in there and ask it to assess your writing style.
Yeah.
And then once you ask it to assess your writing style, then you can see if it's matching how you perceive or how you want to come across in your writing. Um, and then I sometimes I'll say, please use as much of my language as possible, um, and still have this make sense. Because I
Yeah.
have a certain vocabulary. There's certain words that sound like me,
Yeah.
and I want it when I write something. The word that I put down has meaning, so I want it to use these specific words. So it might rewrite it for me, but it keeps the words that are important to me.
Yeah. Cool.
So does that hopefully give you some ideas about how you might be able to apply this in a different way?
Yeah. I mean, it's all learning on the AI side of what's possible, and then it's playing with it. And so it's just kind of general curiosity on, clone and potential. Like I said, I think for us that are army of one, it's great to truly, I mean, just not have to do heavy lift on everything, and allows you to experiment a little bit.
Yeah. And then if you are you part of the AI group on ICF?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the only place I posted the information for this. So
Yeah.
um,
That's where I saw it come across.
yeah. So I think that's helpful because I think they're doing such a good job of really looking at different ways this information can be applied and how we definitely can use it as coaches in
Yeah.
particular to make our lives easier.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Jason. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. Any other questions or anything else I can clarify for you?
No, I'll take a look through the documents and play once I have a little time here.
Yeah. Try those different prompts and just see what the wording is
Yeah.
and see how you might modify those so that it's matching the needs that you have. I just thought if I give
Mm.
you something to start with in terms of the prompts, then you would be able to make
Yeah.
modifications as you needed to in terms of the types of questions I might ask you. And we went with asking questions up front rather than and putting it all in there because it gave you a chance to use it in a more flexible way. Um, so that you weren't necessarily having to figure all that out in that moment. You could think through it based on the client that you're working with and keep a store of these. They suggested maybe in ChatGPT you keep a store of these. Like maybe one of your clones over there is storing a bunch of these um, ideas. And it initially AI was suggesting that I copy and paste it in every time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm not gonna, that's harder than doing the source thing. And I said, no, we're using the source. We're using and it's like, oh, okay, then you just need to reference the sources. So it was doing
One
it in a more generic way.
one kind of quick question on the projects there. I've done a little bit of that, and then I'll start a new chat, and I find it has pulled all some of that persona or information over.
Mhm. It
Is
does.
that if you want to, if it's one of those, I assume you go, please don't
I've done
don't
that.
pull any of. Yeah,
Yes, and I'll just tell it the instructions. So I
yeah,
did a chat for somebody and I did this. I said, please don't remember this information. He says, okay, delete this information because
yeah,
I didn't want it to pull it in as part of me. So know that it does that
yeah,
naturally. If you don't want it to do that, go up here and just start a new chat. I can't promise you it won't see some of the information from your other things because it generally will kind of recognize it. But
yeah.
the clean chat without doing it under the clone is generally going to give you a little less of that.
Okay.
And you won't have to do because the clone is building off of itself. And
Yeah,
and like I said, it doesn't remember stuff. So I would tell it to follow the same format it followed on a previous one. It didn't remember. So that's why I would go and I would attach the previous one that it gave me,
yeah,
and I was keeping it all in a Word doc. I would attach that previous one to it and I'd say, okay, use this formatting. So it knew
yeah.
what I wanted it to do.
Okay. Cool.
Good.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me.
yeah.
All right.
Thanks for
You have a good
sharing.
day.
Okay.